Hey, what's going on? You're with the Rockman with none other than Mr. Peter Gabriel. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you.
You having fun in Montreal?
Yeah, I am. I'm a traveling salesman and promoting my wares.
Pushing your wares?
Exactly.
Well, I was lucky enough to catch an early screening of it today, and I absolutely enjoyed it.
Great.
And one of the things I noticed about the 3D movie, as opposed to a lot of 3D stuff you're seeing now, is that it's filmed in 3D, and it didn't give me a headache. It's not up-converted like Thor was, or like some other movies with, like, hey, let's cash in on the 3D by just throwing the hammer out and a couple of little things. This was actually filmed in 3D, and you get a real sense of the scope of everything, and very well done. I have to commend you on that.
One of the things I love about 3D is that that you doesn't have to be about the gimmicks jumping into your face, just to have these very slow panning shots where you just feel the space.
And I felt that.
Yeah, it's. I think you can hold shots longer, and obviously we have two eyes, so we see in 3D, and if you can get the glasses and the sort of eye tiredness sorted, which I think mainly we've done, then it can be a real improvement.
And I noticed, not like other films I've seen, there's other points where you can take your glasses off. You can put them on. These ones you have to have them on the whole time because it's 3D all the time. So
sure.
I really enjoy it. And I see a lot of movies, so
Great.
very, very well
Thank
done.
you very much.
And another thing, too, with the orchestral arrangements, I find your vocals and your lyrics really come through. And some of the stuff, I've been a fan for a long time, and some of the music and the lyrics that I wouldn't have maybe heard with the other instruments crowding it, they just really shine through. And it's almost like hearing them for the first time.
In a way, it's strange because you have 10 times as many musicians around you, but you're more exposed. And I'm sure you're right that the lyrics. I definitely feel that as a singer that I have to be much more accurate than I do in a band situation. It's a funny thing.
I've never. This is my first time seeing you live.
Yeah.
Right now, I've never seen you in concert, but I've seen a lot of footage,
sure.
And you can tell that you were really focused on singing.
Yeah. No, and
it was humbling to watch you. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, and I'm watching you, and I can tell. I'm a musician. I can tell that you're focused on singing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it right.
You're not running around in a ball. You're not. You're focused on
right.
singing, and you sounded awesome.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. The focus was really there. So
great.
Awesome.
Well, it's also just to be surrounded by so many really great players who've each done their 10,000 hours. You hope it's going to raise your game a little bit.
That's a Bob Lefsetz. Do you read the Lefsetz letter?
Sometimes.
It's his 10,000 hour quote. I live by that. If you don't do your 10,000 hours, move.
Yeah, I don't think he originated that, but he may have.
But he's made it. He's put his stamp on it.
Okay, good.
So, being from Chaume, we're into our 41st year. You guys played our 4th anniversary party.
Is that right?
1974.
Wow.
And the show was simulcast on Chaume.
Right.
And from what I understand, Genesis is one of the most popular bootlegs because it was the most clear that was recorded. So when I said I was coming to speak with you, a lot of our listeners wanted to ask you questions, so I figured I'd use some of the time.
Glad they're still alive.
Yeah, they're still alive and they're still kicking.
Good.
And a lot of them wanted to ask you questions, so I figured I'd give them the opportunity to be here with them as well. Well, Chantal Pilon wanted me to kiss your feet because she thinks you're a musical genius, but...
I did actually wash my feet before I came out.
Okay, I'll kiss them after, though.
Okay.
Do you ever plan on working with Robert Lepage again?
I would love to, actually. I think he's one of the great directors of our time, and he's just fantastically good fun to work with because he's very generous. He always incorporates ideas of those that he collaborates with, and he's a visionary, and it's a sort of visual poetry that I think is his métier.
Okay. And also, with the change in music, the way you see the digital music taking hold now, you've been on this for a long time. I think when I was doing some research, one of your first recordings was in 81 or 82, a full digital recording that you recorded. I think it was through a Sony truck, it said. And so you've been ahead of this for a long time. You've always been kind of a cutting edge type musician. So for you, this is nothing new.
And actually, we did some 3D about 15 or 20 years ago. We did 3 numbers. I'm trying to remember. I think Lay Your Hands was one of them. But I've been trying to find that footage because it was an experiment. because I thought it'd be nice as a extra little bit for this. But my dad, he's still around at 99, but he was an inventor and engineer, and so he was always sort of working on stuff that was futuristic in a way, and so I grew up watching him sort of campaigning for what technology could do for people.
Right, exactly. And I mean, we see it now. I was at your press conference, and it's true. The power of the phone, the power of all the personal devices. It changes everything. And as a musician, it changes your direct feed between you and your public. I mean, you don't have to rely on the label anymore to give you the recording budget or to fund the videos. You can do everything yourself and just get it right out there. So
I think Marillion, I think, are in my studio at the moment, and they have this system whereby they are getting their fans to fund the recordings, and Mike, who I came over with, said, it must be working because we're seeing Aston Martins in the car park.
Well, yeah, because the percentage that a musician used to get after everybody would take away their piece was nothing, and now if you can do this direct, you might be selling less units, but you're making. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's an exciting time, and I think you're going to see the tide change. And I think bands like Arcade Fire are really taking hold of the opportunity and using it to their advantage, and are smart.
Yeah. No, they're very smart and very able, and great writers too. So that's all good. I think. I mean, you're seeing things go in two directions. On the one hand, the artist can make direct connection to the fans, and I would say to every young band, grow that database and make sure you've got those names and those email addresses, because that's what your livelihood will depend on. So that's happening on the one side. Mm-hmm. And yet on the other, you've got these sort of 360 deals where people are doing partnerships with labels, often for large advances. And then sort of some of the live earnings, merchandise, and all the rest is part of that. I mean, it's good in the sense that all these different models could possibly work. The one that I like with the record business is that, because there are some very smart and able people there, is that it's a service industry, and you have the opportunity as an artist to have their support, help, experience, knowledge when you want it, but they don't own you.
Exactly.
And that's a big difference.
For sure. And also the 10,000 hours.
Right, exactly.
It's because anyone can throw a video out now, anyone can throw out an album, but the 10,000 hours aren't always put in.
Yeah, or maybe you work with people who've done the hours or are very smart. I mean, that's what I've tried to do.
When I opened up the Facebook page, 2 questions, all the Genesis questions come pouring in, of course. And how do you feel about bands like the Musical Box going out and doing these songs and doing these full-scale productions, mimicking stuff that you guys did years ago?
Well, I mean, it's great that they're keeping
it
alive.
Does it take the pressure off you a little bit?
I guess it does a bit, and I think they're doing better business than we did at the time. So
yeah,
because the stuff of my period anyway, Genesis hadn't really broken that big,
right?
And they're now selling out a lot of these halls and things. So it's thanks to them.
And you've seen them, of course.
I went to see them in Bristol.
And you enjoyed it?
I took one of my kids too, and I think one of my daughters said, "Is that really how you made a living, Dad? People paid you to see you do that?" And so, but you know how kids are.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you very much for taking the time.
You're very welcome.
The spirit of rock. 97.7.